We want to talk about education, specifically universities. And we just wonder, with the world of work moving ever so quickly, is academia, especially universities, are they keeping abreast? Let's hear from Lord Willits defending the case.
The government, of course, does provide money to the students when they go to university and then expects them to pay back if they're in well-paid jobs. And the economic evidence is still pretty clear that, on average, being a graduate is going to earn you more than being a non-graduate. And setting aside...
Does university really work? Does it need to change? A-levels were invented in 1951. They're still doing precisely the same thing. I'd like to introduce my panel. I've got a very, very special panel. I've got a couple of people who work in, they're educators, very passionate about what they do. And I've got a couple who missed out on, one went to university and one missed out on university. But they're both doing exceedingly well today. So let's start with Kerry. Where's Kerry? Give Kerry a round of applause. She's our head teacher. Kerry Scott. Kerry, grab a seat. A very passionate head teacher who cares about what education can bring. It's Chris Brady. Chris, come and join us. Everyone knows Professor Chris Brady. Thank you. Alfie. Alfie has started his own fintech. Alfie Ruffle, give Alfie a big round of applause, please. And Rooney Brooks, who went to university, but is now working in fintech as well. Give her another round of applause, please. So, Kerry, I'm going to come to you first.
I'll confess to everybody now, I was kicked out of school. A little bit
Perfect
troublesome.
grounding for the head teacher.
I was kicked out of school, so I had no qualifications, but decided that teaching might be the right thing for me, having a young son, and thinking that we could do something quite interesting. So I had to go off to college and get an access course, which then gave me the place to university. So it was a means to an end.
We left you waiting for seriously well-informed and short questions. Short and to the point. Who would like to kick me off?
Hi there, my name is Winston Ben Clements. I'm a motivational speaker. So one of the topics that I speak about is resilience. And I wanted to know from your perspectives, what could the education sector do to build in these kind of mindset attributes into what the kids are learning nowadays? Because I feel like we focus a lot on the technical aspects of what is needed to perform a role, and not so much on how to cope with adversity, which is challenges that everybody needs to encounter, especially when facing a corporate job.
Very nice indeed.
I'll kick that off.
Please.
I think we need to teach young people that failing is good. I think they need to embrace failure, and I think that's something that is a negative word, where I think that failure is the inevitable stepping stone to success. So teach more failure, make them fail often and early, and then I think that's what will create the grit and the resilience and the passion, I think.
I went to university in my 40s, so I was a late blossomer academically. But
Wait on. Why?
because I'd missed out. I'd done the thing, nearly got kicked out of school, but not quite, and left with 2 O-levels and knew I was quite bright. And so I'd gone through work always thinking, I missed that.
The most important thing is to treat everybody as if they're smart, because actually they are. So that's the good news. So we at universities, for example, I mean it's different in schools, but at universities we select people we think are smart, and then we treat them like idiots for the next 3 years. You know, so which doesn't make any sense. The other thing that I think is really important is combining, and I try to do this in every business school I work in, is combining form and function. So basically, if we're going to be teaching about business, we better teach it in a manner that is very business-like. You know, so they get double learning in a sense. They get tangential learning as well as direct learning. So, for example, a lot of my faculty will say to me, "Why is it that when I go into your classes, it's always full and the other ones are often half empty?" Because I'll tell you why, because I'll go round into the cafe and I'll see Alfie there, and I go, "Oi, you're supposed to be in the class, get in there." And he'll go, and he won't fight you. Like the faculty, will, "Well, you can't say that to the students." "Yes, you can." He'll go, "Yeah, all right, I'm supposed to be there." And he'll go, and he'll take his 3 mates with him, and they fill the class up. And you treat them in a way that you treat them like adults. And I was just chatting, we were just chatting about, I'm running a program in in a school, a secondary school in Sheffield, for I think the 13, 14 years old, and when we come out of the first lesson, one of the teachers said, "Oh, they really responded well," and I think it's because I just assume they're really smart, and I just assume they're adults. I just treat them like adults. And what was interesting though was after they filmed all this, because it's for a charity and foundation, so they filmed the whole thing. And apparently, and I don't even remember this, but apparently the kids were chatting amongst themselves and doing some of it. And I said, "Come on, guys, we need to do so and so." And they carried on. I went, "Hey!" And they went like that. Now, what's interesting about that is, and they just came into the line straight away. "Well, we're supposed to be here to learn. That's what we do, and so this guy's trying to help us." And so, but what was really interesting, about a couple of weeks later, they were editing the video, and they said, "Look, we brought in our lawyers to see if that was too aggressive." I'm serious. I'm deadly serious. I'm deadly serious. And then after about a few days, when they were messing about with it, they wrote to me and said, "Good news, it was okay." And I'm like, "I don't really care. You wanted to film it. The kids really enjoyed it, and the kids responded. And what we were doing with them was teaching them in this, the whole flipped classroom. I know it's more difficult when you've got 40, 50, but I mean we had about 30 in the class, and what we were doing with them was going. We're saying we were trying to teach them some stuff with computer coding. Key to it was the way they need to
think. I don't disagree with university. I mean, a lot of my friends have gone. I obviously went, and I would never take away any of the experiences. Similarly to that question about are we learning transferable skills, I think anything that you learn at uni, whether you complete it, whether you love it, whether you hate it, you're always learning. You're learning what you like and you're learning what you don't like. You're learning how you like to learn or how you don't like to learn. So I would never take away university from anybody, because I don't think that that's the right thing to do. Some people go and love it. Some people need it to ready themselves so that they're in a position where they feel like they're mature enough to work, or they feel like they can cope with working. So again, that's a completely different view. I think though, and I'm not saying that they should have done something differently when they raised the price of uni, but I think if you look at how much a parent pays for a private school, which is similar to the cost of going to university, there is an expectation that they will be getting something more out of what they're paying for. If you pay more for something, you're expecting you're going to get something back. When they raised the cost of university to £9,000 a year, that nothing changed about those unis. However, we're still paying more for them. So it's kind of like the expectation has risen, and whether that is because of how much we're paying financially, that might be the case. But from my point of view, when people go and they come out and they complain about all the things they didn't learn, all the contact hours they didn't have, a lot of their frustration is, I've walked away with £27,000 worth of debt and I haven't got as much as I should have got for it. So, but then again, it's their decision to go, and it's kind of like they know that when they're entering into it. So can they use that as a comeback?